A pleasant good evening and greetings and salutations to everybody out there in listening and viewing land. It's Drew again. You're back at you one more time for the Wednesday Wagwan. It's Wednesday, June the 5th, another month, new month, and we're giving God thanks that we can be here alive and ready to give you that news that's on the streets. All right, people, it's been a while since I've been doing this thing, but nonetheless, here I am again talking that topic that men are dying, people are dying at the hands of men, women are dying at the hands of men, etc., etc. So it's been a minute since I've been on, like I said, but I felt the need to come on tonight because what I want to talk about tonight is actually mass shootings or mass slash random shootings as they're seeming to be called or they're deemed nowadays, depending on the criteria that they fall under. And these are two criteria that they seem to fall under, two subject heads that they fall under: random shooting and mass shooting. When it comes to mass shooting, we hear about a lot of mass shooting happening in the other side of the border in the United States, and it's become so prevalent over there that I think when we hear it, it's just like, oh, another one. Well, the mass shooting we're talking about on this day just happened over the weekend, Sunday night, in an area that's pretty close to home, somewhere that, my old stomping ground, so to speak, in the Etobicoke Rexdale area, a place that I used to frequent. As a matter of fact, it happened in the parking lot of a school that I attended in high school for a period of time. I know the area well and where people gather and they play, soccer, football. And five individuals on Sunday evening, as we were told, were shot, and one succumbed to their injuries and died. But this is considered a mass shooting because anything over two or two and over is considered a mass. And here we have five people in the same group shot. And there was a string of violence also along with that on this weekend. So two, even this one I'm talking about was deemed random because apparently the victims did not even know, or according to the police investigation, saying that it just was individuals that were shooting. But I have some questions. I mean, they found over 50 rounds of bullets. Individuals drove in a dark colored vehicle, a truck, and did this and then left. Some of the victims apparently will have life altering injuries. And I try to wrap my head around it and say, okay, what would make this random? Um, what qualifies as random when someone just decides to just go around and shoot indiscriminately at anybody? Or was there something more than this? Now I've been in the streets for a bit, and I know some things happen where words are said, insults and bickering and back and forth, and there's an exchange of unpleasantries, and perhaps someone comes back and retaliate. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but at least it sounds bad, even what I'm about to say, but then I would at least understand why someone would come back and retaliate, because we've known for many years, violence is senseless, but people have got into fights and lost their lives for stepping on someone's shoes, for um, calling somebody a name. And I don't know if that played out here, but the individual that died, was described as a very loving and gentle human being. but he died violently. And it hits close again because I know some of the people that were in the circle, in sense of that they played on the same soccer team, etc. And I don't know if they're even okay. So mass shooting happened here in Canada, on the other side of the border, on this side of the border, very close to home. People are reeling because they lost someone. Someone is not coming home. Someone was left on the ground. And rest in peace to that family, and rest in peace to that individual there. So, mass shooting slash random shooting. I want to touch a little element on this because I feel that also in the fact that men are dying, and over this weekend, like I said, there was many shootings that happened right across the city involving police officers, involving just individuals. And the death toll keeps climbing. And when we're hearing of mass shootings of this capacity now, whether you want to deem it gang related or whatever, but they couldn't even deem it gang related. That's another terminology that we've heard so often that when we hear it, it's like we tune out, or some people tune out because they might feel like this is almost like retributive justice, or this might be, if you're in the streets, if you're in this kind of lifestyle and you decide to shoot at each other or violently act upon violence against each other, then this is just one of the things that comes with the territory. But nonetheless, people are still dying. And even if it is gang related, the fact is people are dying. And how do we tackle that? And in a random shooting, it's scary because we don't know if it really is random, and if it's random, what makes an individual just go, and just arbitrarily picks where or who to shoot or to stab or to maim or whatever it is. And what's the motive? Is it an initiation? I'm just putting it out there. I'm asking. I'm not asking for a friend, as the saying goes. I'm actually asking for myself. I'd love to, hear, get some feedback if you have some thoughts on that. What makes it so random that individuals will go off and shoot indiscriminately in a crowded place and take off and risk getting caught, risk losing their own lives, risk all the risks that are involved? Doesn't seem like it's worth it. I don't know if there is anybody else influencing these people, and they could be young, they could be old. I mean, the individuals that got shot in this particular mass shooting, I gotta say it here, it's weird, but in this particular mass shooting were individuals in their 50s and early 60s. So, that hits home again because, it's in my age group. And the update that we've received in the last um, 24 hours or so is that they have video footage now of individuals who were driving a model vehicle described as the one that was even in this involved in the shooting. And they showed two individuals running from that vehicle after the vehicle crashed into a parked car. I mean, this stuff is like straight out of TV now, and here we are. And I felt to talk about it tonight. This is the Wednesday Wagwan, the midweek catch up. And the catch up is that men are still dying. Because these incidents I'm talking about to you tonight, is basically our males involved. Here we have 5 males shot, 2 suspects at large who did the shooting allegedly. Then you have another shooting where a police officer shot somebody coming at them, I believe, with a hammer or whatever. You got other shooting where innocent bystanders or some other person was shot and don't even know why they were shot. You have a young teenager shot in their own home or area. Like this is exhausting, and I guess that's might be why I don't really do it as often as I would like to. Along with other stuff, of course, we're busy in life, but you know, I find that if I can call what happened here on this side of the border in Canada a mass shooting and it's not so prevalent as our brothers and sisters over in the States, we still got issues over here. And if it becomes to the point where we're making calls on shootings as random and mass, then we're heading in a slippery slope that needs to be addressed. And I mean addressed this way. Let's not just look at it, let's not look at even one individual shooting and killing as something that is common assault, that is everyday occurrence to the point where we get numb, to the point where we get desensitized. And I'm afraid that that's actually where we're at. That when we can hear of a shooting of 5 people that happened over the weekend and it just brushes as a news cycle, and yes, shooting happened in north end of Etobicoke, and we don't even put it as a mass shooting. Now look how it would play in the States when you hear school is involved. You'd hear, is there a lockdown? And now, of course, this happened at the time when school wasn't happening, so you wouldn't hear that. But it's ironic that this happened in the area of a school, actually in the school's parking lot, a school that I used to go to, a school that has its own notoriety, if that's the word to use, for some of the things that used to happen and around that school and that particular area. So many things I can tell you about that area. I know it well. I lived on that block for many years, and the violence has been there for many years that I've lived there and even hereafter. The amazing thing is that there's a police station or police yeah, I want to say a station that's in that very area, like of Kipling and Finch area. And the place that we're talking about tonight is literally I mean a stone throw, a block away from that. Now they say they're going to increase the presence in that area, and I'm wondering why that wasn't the case in the first place. Why it was also random is because after speaking to the victims and some of the people around that area, we understand that these gentlemen, they just play soccer. Afterwards, might have a little gathering where they might play some dominoes and just relax for a bit before they go home. And this is what was happening. And this is something that is common. But as that is common and you think it's a nice time to exercise and get your body right and get your exercise and fun at the same time, and then unwind with friends and loved ones and just shoot the breeze and you know and then to lose your life, it really sucks. And to the reader who wasn't there and to those who are hearing the story on the news, they might just continue on with life and because it didn't hit home. Why I'm touching it, because my ears peak every time I hear a shooting, stabbing, or some kind of violence that ends in death. And this one in particular, I felt the need to talk about it tonight because it falls in the category again of mass shooting, two or more individuals being shot. And the lucky thing is, or the great thing is, or the bittersweet thing is that out of the 5, at least 4 still are with us. And yes, there's a family that's grieving. There's people that was affected because they were part of this and know they will never see their friend again. And I think sometimes it really makes us give our head a shake when we realize how close home to home it happens to us. And I don't pray that it happens, and that's the only time that we want to take note or action. But let's take our heads out the sand a little bit. Let's recognize that a life is lost, regardless of the activity. And let us not be, so self-righteous to say, well, they shouldn't be here or they shouldn't be there. Fact of the matter is that there's some perpetrators of violence that are out there, and they have no regard, whether it be the devil in them or whether they're just bad seed or whether they're idle, that it can now be classified even as random. And if it's random like that, and it truly is random, that somebody just going out and indiscriminately shooting people and picking like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, that's not comforting when you are living in that area like that, or when you're living in any area, because that means then random is random. Random doesn't pick an area because it may be drug infested, or it may be crime ridden, or it might be broken down, or whatever demographic you want to call. Random is random. It can happen in Rosedale, it can happen in Jane and Finch, it can happen in Regent Park, it can happen in Vaughan. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that what is random, what's causing people to act this way, I'd love to know. What's the motivation? Is someone paying someone to do this? Are these people, individuals involved, getting paid to do this? Is it a thrill? Like, what are we talking about when we're saying random? I understand we're talking about when we're saying mass shootings, and at least we can say they're correct here because this is multiple people that got shot, and I'm sorry for that. And yet the beat goes on because men are still dying. Something's got to give. But I hope it's not our attention span. I hope it's not our attentiveness and our bowels of compassion to realize that lives are being lost in these streets, in our homes, at the hands of some really disturbed individuals that need help. People, as I'm representing for Tough Forum tonight, the Wednesday Wagwan, I admonish everybody to take a breather, to remain vigilant, but don't hang your head down in hopelessness, because I surely won't. But at least we can think about how we interact with people, the words we say, the consequences of those words. So maybe we need to be more slow to speak and swift to listen, as my grandmother would have told me. And I'm starting to really take that in. That not everybody's thinking of the way you're thinking. Not everyone is thinking that it's just going to finish with words. Not everyone is able to articulate themselves through words. Not everyone is witty and can just come back at, especially when embarrassment is inflicted on somebody or the recipient of that wit. So I just caution everybody, these are long gone are the days where we could have got away with saying a few things, though they be derogatory, but we could have got away with some things back in the days. I remember we even had sessions where we were just roasting people. But when you don't know individuals, though they may seem younger than you, though they may seem like miscreants, though they may seem like they won't go the distance or their only talk. Listen, I'm seeing a new breed of individuals out here who don't want to talk. They want to talk with their pistols and their weapons of destruction. They want to take lives and they want to boast about it. They if random is classified here or characterized in a shooting like this, then that tells me their motivation is not necessarily one that might compute with us. It's senseless. It might be something in the streets that I don't know. I've been out of this for many years, thank God. But the code and whatever that is, I don't know. But there's something that's totally wrong with the mind work, the faculties. I'm at a loss for words for what motivates someone to in fact do something that is deemed random. "50 rounds is no small amount of bullets aimed at people for you to think you were just trying to scare them." So, I don't know. People still dying. Men, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with these young men, old men, middle-aged men? I mean, I just did something the other day or some weeks back, maybe months back, where someone in their late 60s took the life of their wife. Made me say, what is going on? For me, the consequence is way too deep. It's beyond just the incarceration and being behind bars. It's just knowing that I didn't bring life. I mean, God is the ultimate giver of life. Though I have children, I know that it was Him who ultimately makes life. And we like to take credit for that because a man and a woman come together and produce a child. But really, we don't give life. And therefore, we don't have the right to take it away. And I think there's so many people, so many elements in the world now have, and maybe even times past, because history has a way of repeating itself, that just don't subscribe to that. They just believe they are the force. They got the juice, to quote a movie back in the day. Those who know, they know. But life doesn't even seem to be valued, even by these suspects or those who are committing these crimes. It seems like they don't even value their life. The countless videos I've seen in the last few weeks where individuals are they're caught. I mean, police have surrounded them and they're coming out blasting as to say, you gotta kill me. I'm not going in like that. Or I'm not going out like that. Rather than to say, let me surrender and do my time because I've already been doing the crime and now I gotta pay. No, they're like, nah. So life seems to be just totally taken for granted. It's just like their understanding of life doesn't seem to match with those who want to live. It seems like they're just existing and not living. They're just existing to make and take money, make and take dividends from people to increase their wealth and their temporary status. It's a sad, sad, sad thing. So on this side of the border, on this June 5th, Wednesday Wagwan, I'm talking about mass shootings. I'm talking about random shooting. It's happening in our city. And we can't even look at and shake our heads at the States. Though it may not be happening prevalent or every day or every other day or every other week as it does over there. Crime over here, violent crimes, and the regard or the blatant disregard for life has been playing out in our streets, and therefore life has been changed. Life has been altered, and people and men in general speaking now are losing their lives, and continues the plight that makes me keep doing these videos and commentaries, to keep you knowing that men are still dying. People, don't want to be a downer, but I just want you to know that we can't hear the news and just keep shaking our head or just get numb. I don't want us to get numb, so please lively up yourself, spread love. When you see someone with a scar on their face, instead of saying negative things, let's try to make them smile. Let's try to understand people. Let's try to show love so that love can be contagious again. That these men would want to treat women right again, court them again, bring flowers again. Kudos and shout out to those men out there who still holding it down, still being men, still being real men to their fathers, to their daughters, examples in their communities. Shout out to you, because I know there's plenty of us that are still out there. There's plenty of men that are still out there. Though men are dying, some of these men are even dying in these streets, but they're going to leave a legacy of what they've done as something positive and something good. I want to be on that side. And let's change the trajectory of our generation to come and those that are here now, that they'll leave a legacy that is something good to talk about, rather than we're in these funeral homes, in these churches, and hearing these sermons and wondering where their soul's gonna go. I think I'll leave it there, but stay encouraged, stay vigilant, be not weary in well-doing, as the word of God says, and trust in God. Because in a world that looks hopeless, one thing I know, as long as you got life, you got hope. So keep hope alive and keep the fight. This is Drew signing off for another portion of the Wednesday Wagwan, the midweek catch-up on the Tough Forum. Until we connect again, peace and love, everybody. You have a good night. One love.